Well, thanks for joining us on another edition of Bowl Fast Talk Straight. At the end of day 4, moving day in the Test match between India and New Zealand. It's normally day 3. I think because of the nature of this pitch and the way things have gone so far, I think day 4 has been the day of moving. Apologies for the hat. I'm still a bit under the weather, and we're still trying to come to terms with a storm that's hit England, the east of England, especially the northeast of England. Trees blowing over, and roof tiles blowing off, and fences. In my experience, the garden fences blowing down. It's about 100 yards down the road in the farmer's field, so it needs to be a bit warmer before we get to fix that. And fixing things from an India point of view. Well, 14 for 1 overnight, and you're trying to work out what a good score on this surface was. We mentioned about the players that India have got missing, as well as having an array of talent underneath who are either in this game or waiting in the wings to come and knock on the door. But two players we said yesterday who I think would have been feeling under massive pressure going into this second innings, largely because the Indian captain and one of the greatest batsmen of the modern generation, Virat Kohli, is available for the second Test match and will come in. And it's who he's going to replace. Well, for me, to be honest, Pujara and Rahane both walked off the field with a resigned look on their face that this could potentially be their last Test match. Pujara especially. I think he is the one that is most vulnerable. And at 51 for 5, I thought it's the first time in the game, in the Test match, where I thought New Zealand were actually in the Test match and potentially ahead of the Test match. India were effectively 100 for 5 on a pitch which was slow, not great for scoring, but not one that you'd lose any sleep on from a sharp turner or an up and down bounce. If anything, any sort of invariable bounce was down rather than spitting and going up. And then for me, the game changed when Ravichandra Ashwin walked to the crease. His first ball through extra cover for 4 was a fantastic shot. It was a fantastic shot. Then he hit his third ball of the same over for 4. And all of a sudden, he gets to 20 off 20 balls. The impetus of the game, the mindset of India to the mindset of New Zealand completely changed in the whole game and the whole context of the game. For that one innings, what did he get? He got 32 off 62 balls. A little bit bogged down, and he managed to get himself out a little bit later on. He was a little bit unlucky, actually. Off big Kyle Harmison ball, blocked the ball onto his leg, rolled down the footholes, and just knocked the leg stump bail off. So at that point, you're just looking around and thinking, could New Zealand knock India over? What was the score? 103 for 6. So you're looking at 150 for 6 effectively in the match. Getting to the point where anything more, you're from a New Zealand point of view, maybe just a bit out of reach. And then what a week Suresh Iyer's had. Not only did he get his cap off one of the greatest modern day cricketers of all time, and probably up there with one of the greatest cricketers India have ever produced in Sunil Gavaskar. Inside the huddle, he kissed his badge. You could see the emotion in his face. And he's gone and he got 100 in the first innings, fielded for 143 overs, which is no mean feat, to tell you, especially from somebody who hasn't played a first-class match for 2.5 years. And then to go out in the second innings and calmly, let the team bat around him and hold the innings together and put New Zealand in a match-winning position is, well, he was always going to get man of the match, no matter how many wickets anybody gets in the fifth day. He's held the innings together. I think he's one of the first that's done that. First 100 in the first innings, 50 in the second innings, and he's put New Zealand in a match-winning position, along with Wiraman Saha, who again showed a great deal of bravery and courage to come out, bat the way he did. He altered his technique a little bit. He was less side on, he was more front on, just so he could access the ball, from an eye line and line up point of view. I think if he had been playing on a faster pitch, it might have been a little bit more harder for him to do that because of the size, the stature he's at. And if the ball could bounce, Southey and Jameson would have been able to bowl a lot more shorter balls at him. but I thought some of his back foot punches through cover point and the backward point region, just to release the pressure, was fantastic. And then he opened his arms and he managed to get a few slog sweeps away as he was feeling a lot better. Along with Axar Patel, just put the icing on the cake of a total which I think is just a little bit too far out the reach of New Zealand. Southey and Harmison, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Two bowlers, two champion seamers who I don't think there's too many times in Asia, in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, where two seamers have bowled as well in a test match than what these two guys have bowled. I think Southey's got 8, Harmison's got 6 in the match. And they're both bowled with, very, very good intelligence, very, very good discipline. And they've also been threatening as well. They've been very, very threatening on a placid pitch. And it just, for me, that highlights and magnifies that. The team selection, possibly, on hindsight, was wrong. Could have had Wagner in because their backup bowlers, whether it was Ijaz Patel, Rachin Ravinder, or Will Somerville, have just not been at the races. Very, very placid, very innocuous, toothless. I think it was probably the best way of looking at the way the spin department has been for India, against India for New Zealand. So all in all, that's the story of where near the end of the day. But 4 overs to go, the declaration came. And I have to say, I think the two umpires in this game have been below par. I think they've been relatively poor by the standards that they've set, especially Nitin Mellon, who is a fantastic umpire. He's just had an off game. I think a lot of their decisions that they've getting wrong in this game on a pitch which it's not sharp turn, it's not steep bounce. There's not a lot of invariables to come with making the decisions. I think some of their decisions have been poor, and even the one right at the very end of the New Zealand innings there, where the catch down the leg side, taking shin high off Siraj Iyer, and they're asking for help with that one. I think just summed their game up. And in the end, Will Young, he didn't survive the LBW shout. He wanted to review it. He was just out of time. First eye, you can see why the umpire's giving it out, but then when you see it again, from where it's pitched to where it's hit on the badge of the sponsor's logo of the pad, you just knew then it couldn't be going onto the stumps. So, Will Young didn't get his review in time, rightly so, given out, because he didn't ask for the third umpire's help. And New Zealand are 4 for 1 with Will Somerville, the night watchman, who could have a big part to play in tomorrow, because you've got to get to that 30-over period. The minute you get to that 30-over period, it seems to get a lot easier throughout the 3 innings gone so far. And he could chew up a lot of balls. He batted 50 balls in the first innings. If he bats 50 balls in the second innings, New Zealand might have a chance to save this test match. But my prediction will be the game will be gone over, done and dusted. India to be all out between 120 and 150. Just done between lunch and tea tomorrow afternoon. And if that is done, I'll have a smile on my face along with you Indian fans. And we'll see you then. Look, if you got this far, please like, subscribe, leave a review, and we'll see you tomorrow.